Back in the day when gardening was easy and I was a heck of a lot younger, everything I did was simplified, and I could work and sweat and get dirty and enjoy every moment of the gardening without hesitation that I might have done too much. No, you can never do too much when you're younger. Mark my words, folks. That doesn't last forever. But you just don't give up. You keep going, no matter what. A little acetaminophen helps sometimes, as long as you don't overdo. This is me sitting underneath my deck behind this lattice work that I have for the beautification of under my deck from the other side, which is stained. So I thought I would show you under my deck since I was sitting there. This is the under my deck view. I'm sitting on a chair and I'm looking up. Oh, isn't this interesting, folks? Yes, indeedy. And here's another section of under my deck. I'm looking off to the side. Now, isn't this entertaining? Isn't this more entertaining than watching someone milk a goat or a cow? And here's another view. There's the lattice work that I removed to get in under my deck. Now, you ask, why are you sitting on a chair under your deck? Well, I have a gutter from hell lately, and I'm trying to fix it. Trying is operative word. Trying to fix it. I have become now the meanest, baddest dog with a bone that ever lived. Yes, I have. I am determined that I'm going to save water, that I'm rarely going to go down the stairs to probably use. Yes, because I don't like stairs anymore. They hurt me. So the fewer the stairs, the better. But I'm going to fix this. Yes, I am. So while I leave you on this repetitive short little video, because I didn't film it for very long because I couldn't see, it was so sunny. So I put the screws on and the tape on that I forgot to do yesterday. I got my good heavy string out. It didn't look heavy, but that green stuff is mighty tough, I tell you. Yes, it is. It's almost like a zip tie. If you try to break it, it's very difficult. So I tied it up to the fence. And I have one of my T-posts holding one part up until I could figure out what to do next. And it helped me tie it up to the fence anyhow. But folks, let me tell you, I just don't know. We do have some rain coming, they said. So last year, I think it was last year, it could have been 2 years ago, I built this little raised wooden box out of some boards I had in my garage. You want anything, go in my garage and it'll be there. So I wanted it for out in the yard for my indeterminate tomato plants. It worked wonderfully. Beside the tomato plants, I had, what was it? I think it was jalapeno peppers. And they got eaten. Just eaten. Yep. But the tomato plants were fine in this box out in the yard. So in fall, I let it get filled up with a bunch of leaves and it could compost in with the soil that was in the box. And I thought this year I'm going to take that box and bring it to this white planter box that I have. Now this wasn't designed for plants. This was designed for those really big front-loading washing machines and dryers. Yeah, it broke after a number of years. So this great big heavy weight stand did me no good because I just bought a cheap set of washing and machine and dryer, and I didn't need this stand because now it would be too tall. I wouldn't be able to get the clothes in the washing machine, the top loading. So it got brought outside and used as a garden bed for things like chives and flowers and whatnot. And it works beautifully, oddly enough. So I tipped it on its end and let the wood dry out really well because it's less heavy. If wood is wet, it's heavier. If it's dry, it's less heavy. So I just tipped it up, stand it upright, and leaned against a cedar tree till it was dry, where I could move it easier to where I wanted it. And I wanted it at this end of this flower bed because it's always in the shade. It's right on the other side of my deck and it's shaded. So it's great for things that bolt. You don't want direct sunshine. And so it fits almost perfectly. This is 11 o'clock in the morning time stamp for the box that I sat there. So this is me standing on my deck looking down over the railing at the added box on top of the white structure made of wood that's too heavy for anybody to ever move ever again. And I'll just let it compost in place. And yeah, so that is at 12 p.m. for the trying to mark the time of the sun right now, just to see at this time of year. But as the year moves on, it'll be a little differently, but it'll still mostly be in the shade at that end of the garden. So as you can clearly see further down, there's more sunlight and things grow really nicely. At different times of day, it's difficult to grow anything in my backyard because of all the trees, but that's okay. I love the trees. And in this area, sort of to just below the stairs there, grows really well because that's in full sun. Morning, all day long, it stays in full sun. And Solomon seal and hostas and echinacea plants just love it over there. And the hostas loves the shade and the hostas loves the sun. So, you know, as long as it's in the sun and it has compost around it, like leaves or whatever, to keep it safe. My rhubarb. Haven't done a thing to the rhubarb, just let it grow. It's an amazing plant. And I love making muffins out of it. It's just wonderful. Syrup, you can make syrup out of it for pancakes. It's delightful. Just don't eat the leaves. And then there's this box. I made a box with a cover. And you'll see the cover on it. And it has screen on the cover. And it just lifts off. And that's why I have the bricks and whatnot on the cover, so squirrels don't go in there and dig on it. But I haven't decided what I'm going to put in there. I was originally going to use potatoes, but not enough sun. Because as soon as my hydrangeas behind it there gets in full bloom, it'll be in the shade. So I could put a shade-loving plant there, but I usually have issues with slugs. And they like that area because of the shade. Yes, they do. So maybe it'll be flowers. I was originally going to put potatoes, but not enough sun. And they need sun. They like sunshine. And because my backyard has so many rocks in it, any rocks you see in any of my videos, they are rocks that have been dug up because we need to dig a hole for this or dig a hole for the fence or, you know, yada yada. And that's where they come from. And I love the rocks. They line the garden beds. I can move them easily. They're not overly heavy. So I could use this box as a potting soil compost / bin. And because in the fall I dump out my little potted plants, and I just threw it over the deck railing last fall, and it all landed in the same spot, and it composted beautifully down there. And that's what I'm going to use this year. It's full of worms and all kinds of good micros and anyway, so I thought, and that's easy enough. I could just dump the pot right into the thing. Just, you know, give it a little bit of a swing and over it goes right into that square. And if it misses, I use a shovel. So I think I'll do that with it and just compost in place. And that way I don't have to walk down to the far end of the yard to compost, unless I want to compost my scraps down there, which I prefer to do further away from the house. Don't want to bring any mice or anything that close, checking it out if they smell, you know, peels and stuff. So I think I'm going to use it for leaf and vegetation compost, and the food scraps will go in my other compost bin down at the end of my yard. I think that's a good idea. What would you use this for if you have issues with slugs? Would you do what I'm thinking of doing, or can you figure out a better way? Now, chipmunks love corn. I was thinking of corn. I do have some chicken wire I could put, or hardwood cloth, I could plant some corn and put it in there. I did that not last year, but the year before, I believe. Yeah. Just as a test, because the chipmunk got into that makeshift white flower bed I had, and he ate all the stems. Just bit them right off. Ay, ay, ay. Critters are hungry too, folks. Well, right behind it, I could dig up the hydrangea. I don't know how difficult that'll be. Hydrangea's been in there for many years. I did, however, the hydrangea went rogue one year, and it leafed off a bit and spread itself and decided to come up underneath the stairs. So I just yanked on it and got some really good roots. And I went, oh, okay, that was easy. So I took it over and I planted it over there in the front garden where it gets more sun, and in the hostas area and Solomon Seal area, and it's growing beautifully. It's been there for over 5 years now, and it's growing beautifully and blooms. It's gorgeous. I could even probably cut it down, right down, for this year, and it'll you can't kill them. And they overwinter beautifully. But I still don't know if that little box will get enough sunlight, because it's not getting any sunlight right now, and the hydrangea is not even leafed out yet, so it's still in the shade. So no use do that. No use do that, because it won't help, I don't think. But I just don't know. If you have any ideas for that little white box, what I could plant in there. Now remember, it's in the shade, almost total shade, except for 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I get a bit of sun until sundown in that area. For a while now, but that won't last long, because neighbors let rogue maple trees grow in their yard, and now they're getting big and they're starting to shade that area for me in their yard. Yeah. And it's like a rented property, and they don't even care that tree's there. If I could reach it, I'd cut it. Because the owner of the property, I asked him, I said, anything leaning over my fence, can I trim it? And he said, yeah, go for it. Don't worry about it. So I do. But I wish he'd cut that down. It's butted right up against his wooden fence, and it's not a good idea to have it there, because it's just going to get bigger. Yeah, and drop more leaves into my gutter. Yeah, the gutter wars. Oh, what to do. I just don't know. So let me know if you have any nifty ideas that I can use, or that I could plant in this wooden box when I fill it up with soil, or put in that white box. And I look forward to hearing what you all have to say, because I do need help knowing what to plant, because nothing is easy for me anymore, and it's very difficult, and maybe I'm thinking too hard on it, and I'm exhausted from being underneath the deck. And I did find a nice iron chair I got to repaint. Yeah, see if I can get my daughter to get me some Rust-Oleum paint or something. I still have some somewhere. I think I'm going to go find it and sand that down and clean it up. So I got to sand some old shovels I found under there, 2 of them, and a rake. Sand them down and put some tung oil on them and bring them back to life. Because right now they're nothing but cut your hands to pieces. The wood's so dry. So if y'all are still interested in my gutter wars and gutters from hell, stay tuned for the next gutter update after it rains. Thank you if you've made it this far.